Alright, so I would like to show how to add some water into an Unreal world. Before I do, I just want to highlight some of the frustrations I had with AI this morning. I was asking AI, how do I add water into a world? And boy, it went on this long streak of things I'm supposed to do, and none of them would work. I'm not going to go into the details on this. You can pause and look and see, but it was quite frustrating. And then I did a little more research and found out, hey, adding water, at least in my case, is pretty darn simple. And I'm going to show you how I did it. So now I'm going to walk through how to add water in a very simple way in an Unreal world. I have here, looking at a high level, some terrain. You can see in the middle there is something white. We'll zoom in a minute. It looks like it's supposed to represent like a wall. I'll explain why I got that there in a minute. But you can see in front of it the kind of the depression area. That's where I'm going to add the water. The first thing you need to do is make sure you have the plugin for waters. So open up your plugin window. You can scroll to the bottom or type in water, and you'll want to make sure that this plugin called water is checked. I also have water extras checked. You don't need that one. If they're not checked, when you check them, you'll have to restart Unreal. That's okay. So once you get the plugin installed, you want to verify that you have the plugin. Easiest way to do that is just go up to Window and Place Actors, and then in the little search box type in water. If it's installed correctly, you'll see there's some different choices here for water. What we're going to do is add water body lake. Drag that over here into my world. It brings up a screen. We're going to add it to the water layer. I think that's okay for now. And boom, now we've got some water. Let's make sure that my movement is, I'm allowed to move it there. So let's kind of get that down there. So water has been added. Doesn't look like what we want. We've got to do something here. So you click on water lake, and let's type in effects up here in the search box. We've got this checkbox, effects landscape. We want to turn that off. Now the water has disappeared. That's okay. Again, we can move the water up until we start to see some body of water appearing. And let's zoom in. Let's get a little closer. Now you can see the water actually has some height, and in Unreal water does. And so now you understand why I'm gonna want that wall. I'm gonna go ahead and lower this for now. Can always raise and lower it later. So now we got some water. Not really doesn't fill in the area that I want. So let's do some expansion. There's these little points on here. They call them spline points. You can add others. We will do that. For now, I'm just going to take one of these. I'm going to move it, and you can now see that the water fills in that area. Likewise, let's move over here. Let's pick that spline. Again, same thing. You can kind of see the water fills in for the height it is. It's obviously not going to fill in further than that. I'm going to go on this line over here, and as long as my mouse is on that line, I should be able to do an add spline point. And look at that. Now I can move that up closer to my water. Like that. There we go. Excellent. All right, so the water's looking like it's a little low. So let's go ahead and click on this again. There we go. Now I can just raise that up a little bit. Let's keep raising that up. It might be too much. But we can do something else here. Let's add a spline point there. We'll kind of move that in there just a little bit to make it fit the shape of the land a little better. Now I'm going to do the same over here. Add another spline point. All right. things are looking a little weird. Let's move that back over here just a little bit. Anyways, you can kind of see where we're going with that. I'm going to hit play. Oops, the water's too tall. Look at that, I can part the water almost. All right, let's go back to here, and I will now just lower that so that fits with my terrain a little better. Okay. Excellent. And then I'm going to continue. We'll add another spline point. Let's pull that up this way. Let's add one more. Pull that up that way. Grab this one. Keep pulling that up there. You can kind of tell when the water will no longer move, so to speak, because your spline point movement arrows start to turn gray, and you know you've kind of exceeded the limits of the water. So we'll kind of keep going there. There we go. Let's press play one more time. All right, so almost. So anyways, again, I'm not going to finish that for this video, but you can see why you might want to have some walls, those kind of things where terrain looks suspicious, because otherwise the water will look like a wall and just kind of end. Anyways, that's as simple as it is for adding water into your terrain. You don't need to do any more than that. There are a couple drawbacks, not going to cover those here. Thanks for watching my video.